All right, part 2 of 2. Welcome back. Welcome in, Bear Down. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Always, I just want to make sure you guys know I really appreciate those of you who make this channel possible, make it a thing that I can do. It's a lot of fun to share with you. So I shared the other day, 2 days ago, the video that we did was on the defensive grades. The offensive grades, a lot more exciting to share too. But I'm going to tell you, after last week's game, the last couple weeks' games, the defense is getting me a little bit excited. Gets me really excited that Dennis Allen is doing such a good job of creating, with limited stuff. He's really creating lemonade out of lemons. So when these guys get healthy, when Jalen Johnson, Kyler Gordon, when they're all back, when everyone's cohesing, I know they're back, but when they're cohesing, it's going to be a scary defense. Today, the offense. I'm going to link in the description of the video, the defensive video from 2 days ago, so you can just click there if you want to. And then also from the bye week, we did this before. I did this last season as well. That's where this originated from. Got a lot of positive feedback. And so we've done it again in the bye week, and now we're doing the mini bye week. I did it a couple times in the season. We're kind of getting through the mini bye week. We're on to Packers week. So this is the big week, and then the Lions play the Cowboys on Thursday. So a lot of opportunity for the Bears to separate themselves a little bit in the division. This is a big week for the Bears. So we're on to that, but we're going to get through this first. Offensive grade so far, and again, this is subject to my, it's not all just PFFs. There's some to do with PFF. So I'll move me down here so you guys can see. Some to do with PFF, but I put here, based on my own expectations, their experience. So, a 10-year vet, a 4-year vet versus a rookie, how I expect them, where they are on the depth chart. If they were a starter, I expect them to play up to starter level. I expect them to be up there. If they're a backup, if they're fighting for a roster spot, that's different than I expect from a starter. So, and I use basically a grading system, a school grading system. A is superior play. These guys are legit. They're elite. They're among the best in the league. They've solidified their spot as whatever it is, quarterback 1, wide receiver 1, running back 1, not only on this team, but in the league is one of the best ones. B, above average or above what was expected. C is average, kind of what you expected or maybe not quite where you want it to be for an elite starter would be my opinion on C. So it doesn't always mean C is terrible. I'm just giving you a basis for the grading system. D, below average, below expected. I do want to see improvement, not necessarily get off my team yet, but below what I would have expected. D is not the end of the world, but F, I'm ready to move on. I'm ready to have you off the team, and I gave a couple of those on the last video. Some of you may or may not agree with these, and I get that. So this is a grading system I'm using, how I feel about it, and it changes from the bye week to now. There's been significant changes. For example, Drew Dahlman did not have an A grade. I'll spoil it now. I think Drew Dahlman is the best center in this. Okay, if one of the best 2 centers in the league. His pass pro has elevated so much. His pass blocking is so phenomenal now that I can't deny that he is. So here's just for an example. Here is before. So this is before. This is from the bye week. You can see over here, Drew Dahlman's pass blocking grade 55 and 74.4 on run blocking. And you can see now, Drew Dahlman 75.2 pass blocking. So it is phenomenally improved. So the guys on this video that I give an incomplete grade to, Ja'Day Walker, he just doesn't get enough reps or snaps. I still want him on the team. He just gets an incomplete grade. Roshan Johnson, he's been injured too much all year. Now, some people might say that's get him off the team. We're done. We're ready to move on from him. I can agree with that, and I understand best ability is availability. So I can totally understand that stance and that viewpoint. But I'm going to give him an incomplete grade. Luke Newman, injured backup reserve role, so he's going to get an incomplete grade. Same with Karan Amagaji, same thing, injured backup reserve. Ryan Bates, backup role. I don't expect Ryan Bates to be re-signed next year. He was $3-4 million this year, and for that level of backup, I think we can fight through the draft or find a player like Luke Newman or even others. Bill Murray. Bill Murray played very well and could play that same type of role. So I don't expect Ryan Bates to be back. That's not the basis of this video, but that's why I'm giving him an incomplete grade. All right, so let's jump right into this with our quarterback position. We'll do the entire backfield here, but we're going to start with quarterback. So for the backfield, you can see I've slotted in the incompletes. I also give a dash for some of these guys who haven't played enough either, who I don't expect to have a grade now. So Tyson Bagent, Case Keenum, Travis Homer, they're just good quality reserve backup guys. There's a dash. So the ones we're going to grade here in the backfield, Caleb Williams for the quarterback, and then for running backs, you got DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monangai. I realize some of this is little on your screen. Some of this is probably hard to read. So I'll go through this really quick. You've got your dropbacks, your attempts, your completion percentage 58.1%. That's the one knock everyone's given on him. 22 yards per attempt 6.9, 17 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 72.7 offensive grade, 66.8 passing grade, running grade of 84.6. Fumble 72.4, big time throws 17 of them, 4%, 13 turnover worthy plays, 2.7%, average depth of target 9, adjusted completion percentage 69.6, which I always preach on here is way more important than your completion percentage. Drops 19, 7.6 drop rate. It's not good. That's not on necessarily all on him. So batted balls, turnover or throwaways, defensive pressures, sacks, pressures turned into sacks, time to throw, scrambles, first downs, NFL pass rating. All right, so we've got the basis of all of that out of the way. You can stop, pause that, check it out if you want to. So here's what PFF has for their 2025 grades so far. Offensive grade, 18th out of 42 quarterbacks. Passing grade, 24th out of 41 quarterbacks. And running grade, 3rd out of 19. Not all quarterbacks are running quarterbacks, so 9 out of those who have elected to run this year. 3 out of 19, so he's one of the best running. And you saw that in the comments from Matt LaFleur this week, too, talking about his elusiveness. He's a true dual threat quarterback. If you didn't see that, that's what Matt LaFleur said in preparing for Caleb Williams this week, that he's a true dual threat quarterback. He's hard to game plan for. Some of the other stats I bring in, I just always throw in some key metrics that are important to me along. It's not this replaces this or this replaces this. It's all these things together, and then watching film. Film is a big aspect of this. So NFL pass rating when targeted, he's 23rd in the league. His EPA per play is 18th in the league. His adjusted net yards per attempt, so how many net yards for each passing attempt that he gains, 19th. He's 6.6. Adjusted completion percentage is 40th, so he's way down on that one. And pressures turn into sacks, avoiding sacks, becoming a threat of getting out of situations. He's 7th at 12.5%. So this is not the end-all be-all, and I know a lot of people won't agree with all the grades I give. I'm going to give him a B on this one. Now, I think Caleb is playing up to A at certain points, but I think it would be a little foolish for me to say he's an A when his adjusted completion percentage, his accuracy, he's sailing some balls, is ahead on some. Now, he's doing some things phenomenally well, and that's why I'm not giving him an average grade. I'm not saying he's C, but I do think there's still work to do before I give him an A grade, so I'm going to give him a B grade, and I think it's a fair grade. All of these things I try to do is to give fair grades on everything. So I think this is a fair grade for Caleb because there is still work to do. He's still got to continue to learn his pocket. He's still got to continue to get his reads out quicker and see the entire the play as it develops. But I would say from rookie year to now, it's exponentially improved. So I'm very impressed with Caleb. I just don't think he's done enough for me to have a grade yet, but I'm going to give him a B grade. All right, on to the running backs. So there's two things here. I'm going to have on here, here's your rushing stats. And I realize I have Caleb in here too. That's not important for this. He's done very well. But I just in looking up the stats and screenshotting, he's just there with all of them because he's a very elusive and very important runner. And then down here is your receiving stats. This area here is the receiving stats for your running backs. So we're going to start with DeAndre Swift. Here's his PFF. And both of these running backs, phenomenally. So here's his offensive grade. 18th out of 61, run grade 20th out of 53, receiving grade 21st out of 57. But then you go over to some of these other advanced statistics, some of the most important things for me as your running backs. Yards per attempt, 4.8. He's 8th in the league. Yards after contact per attempt, 2.79. He's 27th in the league. And this is out of, 60, each team basically having 2 running backs that qualify with enough snaps. Success rate is basically, as expected, how he performs against what was expected on that play. So, if a rush up the gap is expected to go for 3 or 4 yards and he gets 4 or 5 yards, that's a successful. Or if it's to get a first down and he gets the first down, that's a success rate. So 13th in the league at 45% of the snaps he takes are a successful attempt, which is actually really high. So 13th. His explosive rate, 10.6%, is 5th in the league. That's huge. And his EPA his EPA expected points added. Okay, I got through it. Woof. Per rush is 0.0, which is 12th in the league. So 0.02. So he's having a really good year. And more importantly, when you watch him on tape, he's making some cuts and some decisions that are very elusive. He looks like he's got his step back from when he was at Georgia. Now, the offensive line helps a ton with this. I think we all know that. Helps with him and Monangai. I'll speak a little on Monangai here. But watching tape from both the last couple of games, they're so explosive because they both have a dynamic way of seeing the hole. It's getting opened up for him, but DeAndre Swift has a little hip movement that helps these guys move. I think Kyle Monangai has realized he doesn't have that, and so he barrels forward with his shoulders, and he does what he does best, and he runs north to south, and he runs downhill, and he gets those extra 6-7 yards. So both these guys very impressive. So there's no way I can do anything but give an A grade to DeAndre Swift. So I'm going to give him an A grade. We're going to go to Kyle Monangai and jump right on the same train here, just piggyback off what we're talking about now. You can see over here, Caleb's got a B, DeAndre Swift an A, and you can go through here. The biggest thing with Kyle Monangai I want to point out here, missed tackle force. You look at his attempt, 121 attempts, 19 missed tackle force. DeAndre Swift, 160 attempts, and 27 missed tackle force, which is huge. And then you go over here, the same thing, only here's the receiving right down here. On 10 receptions, he has 4 missed tackle force, and DeAndre Swift 25 receptions, 3 missed tackle force. So he's almost more deadly in the checkdowns and getting him out in open space where he can just, blow over some guys. So I'm really impressed with Kyle Monangai. They've got his receiving grade low. I don't necessarily agree with it. It's just that NFL pass rating when targeted. He and Caleb not connecting on some of the checkdowns is the biggest thing. That 60 is what's bringing that down. I don't agree with that grade. I'd say it's more in the 55, 60 range. I don't think it's elite like his other grades, but I do think it's a little bit lower, probably because they just haven't connected on a couple. He's dropped to not the end of the world. I think he's excelling in what he's doing. So for him, his yards per attempt, 4.9. That's 7th in the league as a rookie, as a 7th round rookie. So you have to take that into consideration as you look at this. Yards after contact per attempt, 2.94. That's 26th in the league. Success rate, 47.1%. That's 6th in the league. He and DeAndre Swift are both top 10 in the league in success rate for running backs. I didn't know that, so I started compiling this together. That's phenomenal. So these two are having quite the season. Explosive rate, 7.4%. That's 14th in the league. And his EPA per play is 4th in the league as a rookie, as a 7th round rookie. 0.07 EPA per play per rush. So very impressed. And after I highlight it that way and hype it up, there's no way I can do anything but give him an A grade. So I think that's expected when I do that. So here's your grades so far. You can see I've given Caleb a B, DeAndre Swift an A, Kyle Monangai an A, and Durham Smythe. He's still on the list above the line, but I'm just going to give him a C. As we get into the tight ends, Durham Smythe, I think he was brought in to be a blocking tight end, and the thing is, his blocking's fine, but his run blocking is a little less fine. So you can see down here 58.9 for him, pass blocking 70.8. But what's more impressive, Cole Kmet 73.9. His pass blocking has become next level. So we'll get to him in a minute. But I'm just going to go ahead and give Durham Smythe a C without going into depth on all this. But here's your tight ends. This is all the receiving stats up here, and down here is their blocking stats. So you can see the offensive, run blocking, pass blocking. I know it's a lot. I'm not going to go through. Someone says I'm a little long-winded on the grading video, so I'm going to try to shorten it up just a little bit. But you guys can see here all the stats as you go through: yards per reception, yards after contact per reception, average depth of target, yards per route run, which is one of the biggest metrics for a tight end. So that's a big one. Drop percentage, contested catch percentage, and then NFL passer rating when targeted. So you can see here for Colston Loveland, also a rookie, he's living up to every bit of the build. 12th out of 74 tight ends for offensive grade overall, which as a rookie, that's phenomenal. It's getting better and better each week. He's coming on strong. Receiving grade, 10th out of 50 tight ends at 76.9, Run blocking grade, 14th out of 85 tight ends. So he's the whole package. We're getting the whole package with Colston Love so far. Yards per route run, he's 13th in the league at 1.68. NFL pass rating when targeted, 122, which is 11th. He's one of Caleb's best weapons so far. Contested catches, 60%, 19th in the league. And yards after contact per reception, 5.3, 16th in that category. So overall, Colston Loveland looking really good so far in every bit of the build. The only thing that's lacking a little bit is his pass blocking, but that's not what he's expected to be on this team. He's not expected to be a pass blocking tight end. He's more of your gadget, your receiver type of tight end, and he's creating that Swiss Army knife for teams to go up against. So very impressed with him so far. I'm going to give him an A grade. I don't think there's anything but you can give him an A grade on this one. So Cole Kmet. Now this is one I think a lot of people will be critical on. I'm critical on certain things, but I'm going to be realistic with my grades on all of these. And you can see he's kind of middle of the pack in a lot of these things. Offensive grade 29th out of 74. Receiving grade 29th out of 50. Run blocking grades 29th out of 85. You can see here Cole Kmet, 2 drops on the year, 9.1%. Durham Smythe, more drops than he should have, 1 drop, but 0 for 4 on the contested catches. But the thing with Cole Kmet, he's made it so possible with his blocking this year. He's become an elite blocker. And you can see that 73.9 that I showed. It's one of the best in the league. So his pass blocking has really improved. What makes that such a versatile threat for him, that Swiss Army knife for him as well, is he can be expected for one thing, but he's also that tight end that can release and go out and get you 15 yards and bulldoze someone over. He's got sure hands. He's real. I mean, the last couple of games, he's been like 5 for 5 in one game and 4 for 5 on targets, and they're not always easy targets with Caleb throwing 100 mile per hour fastballs sometimes. So both of these guys having very good years. That's a good tandem. Is he a little overpaid? Probably, but he's worth it. He's helping Colston Loveland come along, and he's sure-handed. He's getting even stronger as we go throughout the year. So I'm going to give Cole Kmet a solid B grade. I know some of you might want that to be lower because you feel like we're overpaying him. You feel like he's not the tight end 1 in this team anymore. Colston Loveland was drafted at 10 for that reason, and he is tight end 1 now. So Cole Kmet, not tight end 1 anymore, but we probably have the best tight end 2 in the entire league, and I love that. So you're getting 1 at on a rookie contract, you're getting 1 on a vet contract. All right, so we'll slot our tight ends in there. We're going to move to the wide receivers. You already saw them on the previous screen, but let's move to the wide receiver room. We'll go through these a little bit quicker. Yeah, DJ Moore. All right, let's just explain some of the stats so far. We're going to leave the tight ends up top here, but then for your wide receivers, DJ Moore, 4th out of 31 receivers that are rushing wide receivers, but his receiving grade down a little bit, his offensive grade overall down a little bit. DJ Moore has been dealing with 2 injuries, a groin injury, and then a back injury. One was after Washington, one was after the Giants game, and he's been playing through them. And the thing that you don't hear with DJ Moore is there's no complaints, there's no whining. He's not. I'm impressed that he's out there every week, like pushing it, grinding, and I don't have any complaints about DJ Moore. I like DJ Moore a lot. I think he helps these young guys come along, like Luther Burden as well. So we're going to be grading right here. We're going to be grading DJ Moore, Luther Burden, Rome Odunze, Olamide Zaccheaus. Those will be the ones we're grading here for the wide receivers. Here's their targets, receptions, receiving percentage. You can see really high receiving percentage for Luther Burden. Yards per reception, offensive grade, receiving grade, dropping grade, fumble grade. Yards after contact per reception, yards for route run, average depth of target, his long, their drops, drop percentage, contested catch percentage, interceptions when they were targeted, fumbles, missed tackles forced, and first downs and NFL pass rating. I think this is really interesting too. You can see right here, 26 receptions for Luther Burden, the most missed tackles 4th, and his big size is showing up. He's going to become a force in this league. And he's the highest NFL pass rating when targeted. Anyways, back to DJ Moore. The advanced stats here a little bit. His yards per route run, 36th at 1.05. NFL passer rating when targeted, 108.4 is 24th. No contested catches for him. That's only on... Oh, I have that wrong. I apologize. I didn't change that. His contested catches is actually very high. DJ Moore is 6 out of 8. I'm going to pause it and find out how much. All right, so I screwed that one up. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. So that's 75%, 6 out of 8, and it's good enough for 10th in the league. So that's a really good thing for him. Yards per reception, yards after catch per reception, 4.0, that's 35th. So all those things considered, I'm still giving DJ Moore a B. The sure hands was the biggest thing that pops up for him being reliable and really good route runs and really good with the ball in his hands. He's a tank. So I'm still going to give him a B, even though he's down a little bit this year. I think he's still a solid B grade. So I give DJ Moore a B. Luther Burden, he's the one that is 0 for 1, but it's only 0 for 1 on contested catches. He gets really good separation, so that's good. So here's his offensive grade, 28th out of 127 receivers. Receiving grade, 74 is 30 out of 127 receivers. Running grade, he's only done a couple runs, but 14th out of 31 receivers. But here's some cool things for Luther Burden. 7.0 yards after contact per reception. That's 5th in the league as a rookie. NFL pass rating when targeted, 15th in the league. And yards per route run, 2.19, 14th in the league. He's coming on strong. Luther Burden is going to be a bigger force than people realize. So you can check those stats out if you want to. You can kind of look at the advanced metrics. Not all these are from PFF. A lot of these for NFL Next Gen Stats or from other sources of advanced statistics. I'm going to give Luther Burden an A grade. Coming in as your wide receiver 4, developing into wide receiver 3 as a rookie, and being among the best in the league in several areas, including being a tank and running guys over once he gets the ball in his hand. I can't do anything but give Luther Burden an A, and I think he's only going to get stronger and stronger. He's got the best NFL pass rating when targeted for Caleb out of his wide receivers, second best on the team behind Colston Loveland. His drops are within range. He's only had 2 drops, 7.1%, but his yards per route run, yards after contact per reception, all those things look phenomenal, and he doesn't drop the ball either. I mean, very rarely. He doesn't fumble either. So Luther Burden, I'm going to give an A grade too. All right, Rome Odunze. This is one I know there's going to be some controversy on, but he still grades out well. He has had a couple drops on the year. He's had 4 drops on the year. It's 8.3%. I've said on here you want between 5 and 10%, so he's still within range. He gets targeted well. The thing that people are down on this year with him, I don't think they even realize what they're down on, is those contested catches. The contested catch is 7 for 18. After being 70% last year, 72%, he's 38.9% this year, which is a cut in half. Teams are targeting him more. They're expecting him to be wide receiver 1 after what happened last year. So he is getting picked on a little bit more, and he's not coming away with a lot of those. So he needs to keep in the weight room and in practice, keep getting bumped and keep getting hit, whatever they need to do to make sure he hangs onto those balls. More time with Caleb, I don't know, but he's still doing very well. I did expect him to be the runaway wide receiver 1 for this team with that 72% complete contested catch last year, but he's still a very big weapon. He's 6'3". I mean, he's our X receiver. So contested catches, NFL pass rating with target, everything's kind of more average this year. But he does have big playability. I'm very happy with Rome. So I'm going to give him a B. There's a lot to improve, especially the hands this year and the contested catches. He fixes that, and he's clearing away the A and the wide receiver 1 on this team. So I'm not going to be too critical. I'd probably give it a B- with some of those drops and some of the games where he's had, some of the contested catches he should have come away with. But there's times where he's toe tapping on the sideline, stretching all the way out of bounds, and he almost makes those when those are plays that normally nobody else would make. So I'm impressed with Rome. I don't think he's worthy of an A grade. I'm going to put him down in the B- range. But I'm glad Rome's on the team, and I absolutely want to see him come out of the sophomore slump and be, just keep expounding forward. Happy with Rome. All right, Lamada Zacchaeus, one that started out so hot and promising. I gave him an A grade at the bye week because in the first 4 weeks, he was so critical for Caleb to develop on this team. After week 4, though, all of his stats, they've gone down. Every single one of his metrics have gone down. And it's not the fact that he's not being targeted. There's been a couple bad drops. There's been a couple bad routes run. But he's still been valuable for the team. He's 51st in yards after contact per reception, 66.7% completion or contested catch percentage. That's 18th. But everything else is a little bit lower. I'm not going to be too critical of Lamade for the recency. I'm going to give him a C because he started out so hot. But this is an average grade. And right now I think he's an average wide receiver 3. Wide receiver 4, probably a little above average since Luther's taken that role over. Do I expect the Bears to re-sign him? Probably not. So he's average, trending towards below average. So I'd say this is a player we're probably not bringing back, but that's only because you have so many weapons on this team. It's not because he's a horrible athlete or player. You got DJ Moore, Luther Burden, Rome Odunze, Colson, Cole Kmet. That's a stacked 5 on this team. So Olamide is just kind of become the guy after a couple of bad drops, a couple of bad situational things that he had. He's becoming the guy that kind of just shuffled out. And I expect that to continue through the remainder of the year. He'll probably sign somewhere else next year. Who knows what'll happen. But I'm happy with Olamide Zacchaeus. I just think he's very average to this point. So here's your grade update so far. And you can see the last area we're going to get to. We're going to get to the offensive line. So we're going to hit Braxton Jones, Ozzie Trapillo, Theo Benedict, Darnell Wright, Jonah Jackson, Joe Tooney, and Drew Dahlman. I'm trying to hurry through this. So I know I'm skipping a couple things. I apologize, guys. But I do appreciate every one of you. All right, we're just going to jump right into these ones. There's not a whole lot of advanced stats on these ones. I mean, we can get, on run blocking, how many yards before contact. You can really break that down on these offensive linemen, but really these grades are kind of taking all that into consideration. So I'm going to take this combined with film and make my analysis here. Remember, Luke Newman, Karan Amagaji, Braxton Jones, all on the IR. Ricky Stromberg's smaller because he's on the practice squad IR, and I need to make room for this. So all the practice squad guys are down below. We only have 7 on the active roster right now, which you're going to keep seeing Jordan McFadden called up or Royce Newman called up or some of these guys called up for spot starts or spot fill-ins in the backside. Braxton Jones, that injury to me must have been a lot worse than we thought, because when he came back, he just wasn't the same. Last year, at the end of the year, he was playing some of his best football. At the beginning of this year, he just didn't look, especially in the run game. He's a really good run blocking tackle. He just did not look at this year. His run blocking significantly down. You can see by his overall grades down here, 47.2 run blocking, and he just never got back and got healthy. So I'll take that into consideration in grading this. But he's eligible to come back, and they haven't brought him back. So I don't know if he'll be out the rest of the year. I don't know what's going to happen with Braxton Jones. He's probably not going to resign with the Bears, but it's just where we are on this one. So starting off first on the far left, we'll move our way right. Ozzy Trapillo. Now, you might think I'm being a little critical here. Here's their run block snaps, pass block snaps, offensive grade, run blocking grade, pass blocking grade, total opportunities to pass block, sacks, hits, hurries, total pressures, pass block efficiency grade, and penalties against them. All right, so you might think I'm being a little bit critical of Ozzy Trapillo here, and I probably am. But we drafted him in the second round. I expected him to be the starting left tackle coming through camp. I felt like we drafted him as the right tackle, but then with Braxton Jones not completely coming back healthy, he got a shot. They did not win it. Ben Johnson said, you'll see him back at some point this season, but he needs more time to develop. Well, then when he came back, he looked phenomenal in the one game against Pittsburgh, and now against the Eagles, he regressed back to being very average. So until I see consistency, that's the only reason I'm giving Ozzy Trapillo a C grade. I think he pencils up a little bit too much from watching film, and I think his shuffle, his lateral, his movement, moving his kick slide, I should say, I think it's just a little bit, it needs to develop. He needs to develop, and that's normal for a rookie. So I should take rookie into consideration. We're running out of time to see if we need to draft a left tackle or if he's going to fill that role. So between now, I gave him a D last time because to start the season, he was not good in the first 4 weeks. Now he's been benched. He's been learning, develop. I give him a C now, but I want to see him become a B or an A by the end of the season so we don't have to draft a left tackle in the draft. We'll probably draft a lineman anyways, but I don't want it to be used to pick 1, 2, or 3. I want that to all be defensive. All be defensive so we can fix. You saw the video yesterday or 2 days ago. Need help on the defense. The entire interior defensive line, I'm giving C's and D's and F's grades to. We don't have a solidified center of that defensive line. The offensive line, this is your weakest link. Your left tackle. We've gone through Braxton Jones, Theo Benedict, Ozzy Trapillo, all fine in each regard, but no one's stepping up to be above average, really. So Ozzy Trapillo, I'm going to give a C grade to. You can see here down below, 57.4 pass blocking grade, which does not qualify. He doesn't have enough snaps to qualify yet. 111 is just below that threshold. So, not the best. He got 7 pressures, 6 hurries, 1 hit, no sacks, which is good on all those opportunities, but that's barely enough to be, 12, 13% of snaps. Not, I need to see more out of Ozzy Trapillo. All right, moving to Theo Benedict. I'm going to give him a C grade as well. He started off really strong, and then he struggled towards the end as well. Ozzy ended up coming in. Ozzy kind of took that job over. Yes, there's been injuries. I get all that, but Theo Benedict, 22 pressures for 273 snaps, also not blowing anybody's socks off, and 7 penalties. Without the penalties, the run blocking, I think, was actually better than the grade they gave him here. I think Theo Benedict's really good in the run. And again, second year, undrafted free agent, Canadian Eagle. He's, there's so much positive to garner from him, but it's not above average at this point. So that's why I give the C grade. I've got to give a C grade to him if it's not above average, and I don't think he's playing above average. So I'm going to give Theo Benedict the C grade. Go on to Braxton Jones just to finish off the left tackle, even though he's on the injured list. Same thing with him. I know a lot of you would probably give him a D grade and an F grade. I don't feel that way. I don't think he's coming back either way, but Braxton was playing really well at the end of last year. I felt he started out well this year, but the one difference is the injury. Like, you can see clearly that he's not getting out on the run blocking, which is affecting his overall play, which is why he's back on the injured reserve and why he's not coming back yet. So I think it's average play for him. Well, actually, for him, it might be a little bit down. So I did tinker with going down to a D grade for Braxton Jones. I'm going to leave it a C, but if you want to feel better, I'll say C minus, like for Braxton Jones. I don't expect him to see reps again this year. It'll be between Ozzie and Theo because they've got to figure out through these last, 5 games. They've got to figure out what's going to happen because they're both going to be back next year. Ozzie's a rookie and Theo's an exclusive right free agent. So we'll sign him for sure. I can almost guarantee we'll sign him because that's a league minimum contract, $1.1 million. And we get Theo Benedict back for either a swing tackle or our starting tackle next year. So we'll have both of them back. I wouldn't expect to see Braxton Jones back. So I'll give him a C, C minus grade. You want to say D plus to make yourself feel better? That's fine because it's right on that teeter range. That's where I feel about it. All right, Joe Thuney. Man, there's not enough you can say about Joe Thuney. Here's the way I can explain this offensive line. The left side, Joe Thuney's holding it down for him and the rookies and Braxton, whoever. Like, his pass pro is phenomenal. The right side is more of your muscle. Left side, more finesse. Joe Thuney, even if he loses a snap or two, which does not happen very often, you see he only has 10 pressures on the year. If he does lose a snap or two, it's late in the progression of the play where it's not going to damage the play. Like he always finds a way to get in front of his guy, to make it extend, to be an all-pro. And you can see his play reflect on other guys too next to him. Drew Dahlman, pass pro, the best it's ever been in his career. And I do attribute that to Joe Thuney a lot too. These rookies getting a little bit of help, I attribute it to him. A little bit slower. His run blocking is, one of the lower ones on the team, but it's still above average, 66.1 run blocking grade. So that's, 31st out of 83 guards. He is the highest graded pass blocking grade, 85.9. He's a future Hall of Famer. So there's not much more that needs to be said about Joe Thuney. I'm going to give him an A grade, and I don't even blink or hesitate to give him an A grade. Drew Dahlman, I had him rated as a C at the bye week. If you go back and watch that, you'll see I was very critical, and for good reason. Since the bye, he has been the best center in the league in several aspects. But you can see his overall grade, second best center in the league. His pass blocking grade, 4th best center, and his run blocking grade, 5th best center. His run blocking is what he was known for and why he came here. Add to that pass pro that is phenomenally improved. I'm phenomenally improved. And you've got a center that to me is one of the greatest signings this offseason. Joe Thuney, the greatest trade and then extension. Drew Dahlman, probably the best signing, in my opinion. Drew Dahlman has helped solidify this offensive line to be one of the best offensive lines. And when you have that and have these guys solidified this year, next year, and the year after, you open up a window where people are going to expect the playoffs and where this team is going to expect to win every single game. When we can push and bully and get out there in the run game with him and Jonah Jackson and Darnell Wright, those three are causing these running backs to have one of the best seasons I've seen for running backs in Chicago. These guys are guys that were being crapped on to start the year. Kyle Monangai, DeAndre Swift. Many people were saying, get rid of DeAndre Swift, get him off the team. He's not worth it. I mean, crapped on. And now because of Drew Dahlman, Jonah Jackson, and Darnell Wright, who are among the best in the league at run blocking, they're getting out to the next level. They're hitting with force. They're pushing plays. They're pushing the pocket. They're pushing it every single time. There's no way I can't do anything but give every one of these guys an A. You'll see here, Jonah Jackson, same thing. I was down on from the bye week on. That bye week came at such a critical time we're not talking about, where they could reevaluate things. And Ben Johnson said, by December, we'll be playing our best football with this offensive line because they have to cohese together. There's no one on this line except Darnell Wright, who's the same from last year. Theo Benedict was partially here last year. He was on the practice squad learning and developing. But Dan Rochar and this line being, brought forward has been one of the greatest things for the Bears. So 11th in overall grade, 30th in pass blocking grade, 13th in run blocking. But since the bye, it's been one of the best in the league. Since the bye, Jonah Jackson, if you take weeks 6 through 12, so after bye week was week 5, 6 through 12, Jonah Jackson is the 6th highest guard in the entire NFL. His grade on run blocking since the bye was 79, and his overall grade since the bye, let me pull it back up here. His overall grade is 82.2 since the bye. And you can see his overall grade is 74. So you can show that first 4 weeks. That's why I gave him a CD grade. I was not happy. Since then, man, he has become an absolute monster for this offense. So I'm giving him an A grade. No hesitation, no doubt. Now, some people might not agree with this one, and I understand if you don't, because Darnell Wright is one of the best guards in the league. Basically a Pro Bowl season last year. And I agree with you. So to caveat this, I'm going to give him a B plus, and I teetered with an A. The thing that I've watched too much as I watch on film, he's getting beat more than he did last year, and I don't like that. 13 pressures, which is not bad. It's not. But the 9 penalties show up. He is being undisciplined this year, and I don't like it. One of the best pass blocking, one of the best run blocking, one of the best combo. Realize I had the wrong information up, so I had to hurry and fix that. He's one of the best combo tackles in the league. The best right, one of the best right. I think he's 4th greatest, highest graded right tackle right now. 14th overall offensive grade, 23rd pass blocking, 10th run blocking. So I apologize, I had the wrong information up there to start with. Let me make sure that's right now. Yeah, that's correct. All this is correct. And I probably should give him an A, but those penalties and just some of the sloppier play I've seen from him, I'm going to give him an A minus B plus. But I am going to give him a B because I think there's more room to him improve and become the best version of Darnell Wright. Last year's version of Darnell Wright, I think, is better than this year's version of Darnell Wright. And I think it's close. But when this line has progressed so much, I think he needs to keep up and he needs to do a little bit better, be more disciplined especially. All right, so here's your final tally. And I'm going to say on offense, it looks a heck of a lot better than it did on defense. I didn't give a single D grade. Now, is that fair? I don't know. You guys tell me. Maybe you think Durham Smythe is a D grade. Maybe you think Olamide Zaccheaus is a D grade. Maybe you have different views and opinions. I do want to interact. I kept this one a little bit shorter than yesterday's. I apologize. It's still long. But I do appreciate you guys tuning into it. Let me know your thoughts on this, though, because I think this is such a high-powered offense. And these grades, I feel like, are fitting to where things are headed. And if the Bears can keep this up, if the line can continue to block and Caleb can continue to develop with these guys, with these receivers and tight ends, the sky is literally the limit for these guys. So if you don't mind hitting the like button, subscribing, if you haven't done that by now, the channel is growing. I said we wanted to get to 12,000 by the end of the season. We're getting real close to that. So we're not going to do a countdown, but if we can get to 12.5, that would be phenomenal. We're in year 2 now. We're at the end of year 2. So I guess we're moving on to year 3 of the channel, which is huge, and it's only because of you guys. So I do appreciate you being a part of it, and a lot to come. Let me know what you guys think of the grades here, what I did right or wrong. I appreciated the feedback on the defensive one too, and some of you guys have great points. I'm not always right on everything, but this is the grades according to Adam on the mini bye week. So with that, appreciate you guys. Till next time, da Bears, bear down.
Bear down, sports making Chicago proud.